Level 1, $24,000. You make $11.50 an hour. You know it, not because you ever did the math, but because the number trails you everywhere. Into the dollar store, into the gas station, into every conversation you sidestep about what you do for a living. After taxes, you clear about $1,650 a month. Rent is $720 for a room, not an apartment. A room in a house owned by a man named Doug, who labels his eggs and counts the seconds you run the hot water. You eat what's cheap: ramen, rice, the bread on the bottom shelf that nobody else stoops for. You stop pretending these are choices. They aren't. The number chooses for you. $11.50 an hour doesn't hand you preferences. It hands you arithmetic. Your car has 224,000 miles. You call it Lazarus because it keeps dying and coming back. You put $7 of gas in at a time because a full tank means something else runs empty. Everything here is a trade: gas or groceries. Groceries or the phone bill. The phone bill or the work shoes quietly falling apart since January. You're at the register with toothpaste and a loaf of bread. The card declines, not because you're broke, because the $6.42 from this morning's transfer hasn't cleared. You step aside, you open the app, you refresh it twice, like glaring at it will move money faster. The cashier waits. The man behind you waits. Something shrinks in you that has nothing to do with money. Your high school class split into two lanes. Some went to college, some just landed somewhere softer. You watch their lives glow on a cracked screen from a parking lot, eating a $4 meal between shifts. You don't hate them, you just stop looking. Comparing at $24,000 is like staring at the sun. It teaches you nothing, it just burns. You Google jobs at midnight. Every listing that pays more wants experience you can't get without already having it. The trap isn't laziness, it's the loop. Clock in, cash out, run dry, repeat. And what keeps you up isn't tonight. It's the quiet math that says tonight might be permanent. The first rule: at $24,000 you don't manage money. Money manages you. Level 2, $42,000. The first salary that feels like footing. Not good money, real money, the kind with benefits, with direct deposit, with a title in your email signature that makes you feel like you belong to something. You move into your own place, not a room, a whole one bedroom, a door that locks behind you, and the silence on the other side is yours and nobody else's. No Doug, no eggs with names. That quiet is the most expensive thing you've ever owned, and it costs you nothing. You eat without doing the math first. You fill the tank all the way, and watching the needle climb to F does something to your chest that people 3 levels up will never feel again. You buy new shoes, not nice, just new, and you wear them in the next morning standing a half inch taller. But $42,000 in a city that wants $1,250 for a one bedroom is still tight. You just don't feel it in your throat anymore. It moved to your shoulders, quieter, still there. The panic of $24,000 is gone, swapped for a duller hum. The low awareness that one bad month could undo all of it. You start noticing people who earn a little more, not a lot, just enough that their weekends look different. You're not jealous, you're just awake now. You check your account on Fridays, not panic, habit. The number is never thrilling, it's never terrifying either. That gap between thrilling and terrifying is the whole address of $42,000. The second rule: $42,000 is where you stop surviving and start looking up. And looking up is how the climb begins. Level 3, $61,000. You're average now, not the average anyone posts about. The average that means you landed exactly where most people land. You did everything they told you: the degree, the job, the deposit every other Friday. And somehow right feels like beige. You have a one bedroom in a decent zip, A car under 100,000 miles, no resurrection required. Rest easy, Lazarus. A credit card you pay off most months, the fridge is full, the bill's clear. You can say yes to dinner without checking your balance under the table. That used to feel impossible. Now it feels like a Tuesday, and the Tuesday is the problem. You run the numbers one night, $61,000 for 30 more years, same raises, same arc. The number at the end is survivable, not exciting. Survivable. You sit with that word and feel something you didn't order, not fear, disappointment, the kind that doesn't slam into you. It seeps in slow like cold through a window you can't find. Then you learn what Priya 2 deaths over makes. $94,000, same hours, same building. You found out by accident and now you can't unknow it. The gap between $61,000 and $94,000 isn't $33,000. It's a different apartment, a different car, a different kind of sleep. You do the same work. The paycheck disagrees. You start thinking about more, not greed, awareness, the same awareness from $42,000, just sharper because now you can see both directions at once. You see $24,000 behind you and you're grateful. You see 6 figures ahead and you're hungry. And the middle of that view is the most uncomfortable seat on the whole ladder. The third rule. $61,000 is the mirror. It shows you exactly where you are and exactly where you're not. Level 4, $88,000. Something moves. Not in the account in the mornings. You wake up and money isn't the first thought through the door, it's still in the house. It's just not running the place anymore. For the first time, you think about what you want before you think about what you can afford. You move somewhere better, not lavish, just room. A second bedroom you call an office and mostly used to store a bike. A kitchen where you actually cook. Badly, but on purpose. A street where the night stays quiet. The upgrade isn't loud. But walking into something you chose instead of something you settled for changes how you carry the whole day. You book a flight without waiting for the fare to drop. You buy groceries without watching the total climb like a slot machine. Small things that feel enormous to anyone who remembers $24,000. You're not rich, but the math finally works without a fight. People start calling you successful. You don't correct them, but the word fits like a jacket borrowed from a friend's closet. Warm, not yours, because you can already see 6 figures from here, and $88,000 still feels like the waiting room. Nicer chairs. Same waiting. The gap with your old friends shows up now, not in arguments, in the things you stop bringing up. You don't describe the new place to someone still renting a room from someone like Doug. You don't pull away. The altitude does it for you. The fourth rule, $88,000 is where money goes quiet. And in the quiet, for once, you can hear yourself think. Level 5, $108,000. 6 figures, the number everyone chases like it's a ribbon at the end of a race. You thought crossing it would feel like arriving. It feels like opening a door into a bigger room with more doors you didn't know were there. Taxes take a bite you never pictured. $108,000 is really about $78,000 once the government clears its plate. In a city that charges $2,600 for one bedroom, 6 figures is survival in a nicer outfit. You're rich to your family. You're average to Priya. You're broke to your neighbor with a boat he can't quite explain. The number means everything and nothing depending on who's looking. You stop telling people what you make, not humility, defense. At 6 figures, everyone has a plan for money they've never held. Your Uncle Ray calls more often. A friend pitches a vending machine empire. A stranger online informs you that you're not actually wealthy. Everyone's a financial advisor when it's your account. The lifestyle shifts, but not the way the movies promised. Better coffee, better groceries, a couch you actually picked. But the jump from $88,000 to $108,000 isn't the jump from $24,000 to $42,000. That first one changed your life. This one changed your options. And options without a map is just a more comfortable way to be lost. You sit with the number you chase for years and realize the chase was the whole thing. Holding it feels nothing like wanting it. The hunger was the engine. Now the engine's quiet and you're not sure what you're driving toward. The fifth rule: six figures is a door, not a destination. And what's on the other side is a question, not an answer. Level 6, $170,000. Life changes visibly now, not dramatically, visibly. The apartment is nicer, the car is newer, the vacations are real. Not a long weekend at a lake 2 hours away you keep calling an escape. But the biggest change isn't the stuff, it's the room you're standing in. You stop relating to conversations about money stress, not because you stopped caring, because you forgot the feeling. And forgetting builds a wall you don't notice until someone leans on it. Your friend Tariq asks to borrow money. The amount is small to you, it's the whole month to him. You say yes before he finishes the sentence. He says thank you in a voice that carries more weight than the number does. That gap isn't financial, it's experiential. Same city, same group chat, different math entirely. You start measuring life in a new currency, not paychecks, freedom. Can you quit without your stomach dropping? Can you take a month off? Can you say no to the things that drain you and not pay for it later? The answer is almost, not yet, but almost, and almost after a lifetime of not even close tastes like a win. The sixth rule: $170,000 is where money stops being the conversation and becomes the silence in the conversations you don't get invited to anymore. Level 7, $280,000. Different world, different problems, different language. You talk about tax optimization, not tax refunds. Asset allocation, not the savings account that pays you 11 cents a month. Your accountant costs more than your first 3 cars combined, and she's worth every penny, which is its own kind of surreal. The people around you earn similar numbers, not by plan, by gravity. The conversation shifted and nobody announced it. Dinners where no one flinches at the bill. Weekends where no one floats the cheaper option, not because anyone's showing off, because cost stopped being a variable in the equation. You stop explaining your life to people who don't live at this altitude. Not arrogance, accuracy, the language just doesn't translate. You say my tax situation is complicated to someone at $42,000 and their eyes do a thing, not judgment, distance, the exact look you used to give, staring up from $24,000. Now someone is aiming it at you, and understanding both sides doesn't make it warmer, it makes it lonelier. The seventh rule: the higher the salary, the smaller the circle, and the smaller the circle, the quieter the room. Level 8, $550,000. Money goes invisible. You don't check prices. You don't check the balance. Like, decisions aren't about cost anymore. They're about time. Everything is time now. What costs you hours, what buys you hours, what earns while you sleep. Your problems wear new names: estate planning, trust structures, capital gains, words that didn't exist in your mouth at $24,000 when the only structure you knew was the room Doug rented you. The money dragged the vocabulary in behind it. The isolation is real, not loneliness, something quieter. The version of you eating ramen between shifts wouldn't recognize this person, and you wouldn't know how to explain this life to him without sounding like someone he used to resent. So you don't bring it up. There's no one in this room who'd feel it, and no one in his world who wouldn't flinch. The eighth rule: $550,000 doesn't buy happiness. It buys distance from the struggle, from the people, from the version of you who knew in his bones exactly what $11.50 an hour felt like. Level 9, $2 million. $2 million a year. You don't say it out loud. Nobody at this level does. The number lives in tax documents and wire transfers and conversations with attorneys who bill in 6-minute increments, which means even hello costs you $40. You walk into rooms where decisions get made, not because you're famous, because your judgment and your capital are useful to the people already at the table. That's a different kind of invitation, not social, structural. The distance from $24,000 is permanent now, not just financial, psychological. You remember the parking lot, the $4 meal, the car that said no over toothpaste. You remember it the way you remember a town you lived in as a kid, familiar, yours, but you can't go back and it wouldn't recognize your face if you did. The ninth rule. At $2 million, money stops measuring your worth. It starts measuring your reach, and reach changes everything it touches, including the person doing the reaching. Somewhere right now, someone is making $11.50 an hour. They're in a parking lot between shifts, eating something cheap and fast. Their screen is cracked, their tank is half empty, their car has a name because naming it is easier than fixing it. They're Googling jobs at midnight. They think this is about the number. It isn't. It's about what the number does to the distance between who you are and who you slowly become. The paycheck lands every 2 weeks. It doesn't ask who you are, it takes whoever shows up.